Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we're going through the Sydney vs Gold Coast game in which Sydney absolutely smashed Gold Coast. It was basically Sydney smashing Gold Coast except for one quarter in which Sydney scored I think 1 point and Gold Coast kicked maybe two goals, three, something like that. Rather, and one of them was even an 8 meter pass that didn't go 15, was out of bounds almost on the kick and almost on the actual mark. So yeah, that was a weird one. And then Gold Coast in the last quarter, they maybe drew level or so in the last quarter, maybe for scoring, but the game was pretty much dead by then. That it didn't actually mean anything that they'd kicked. I think they kicked like the last two maybe or three. No, it was the last two at least, and so it didn't mean anything that they kicked the last two because the game was well and absolutely buried by then. The Swans ended up winning by 53 points. Let me just see what was the. So it was 2 goals, 3-1 behind in that second quarter, and the Swans should have honest. It should have been 1 goal, 3-2 behind. But then again, Gold Coast as well just missed some chances they should have taken. And then in the last quarter, it was 5 goals straight to 3 goals 2, and they ended up kicking. I believe it was. Let me actually just go full timeline. Let me see if this will load for me. They did kick 2 of the last 3, so this ones did end up pocketing 1 in between from Logan McDonald. But yeah, it really was just a dominant display by the Swans, and a 53-point win was probably where it's at, and I was pretty happy about that, given that the Gold Coast were a bogey side for the Swans, and I was happy just to get a tip right for once because that was a tough round for tipping. I tipped the wrong upsets. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this recap. So for all those that helped Brody Grundy, there you go. That is the massive game that you needed from him, and now he is currently priced at 804, going to have like a 50 break even. Yeah, 52 break even, averaging 100, and this is what we expected from Grundy. Or at least what I expected. I know I'm probably jumping off and on you could say I'm almost jumping off and on the bandwagon, but I sort of thought he would be this sort of 90, sort of 6, 7 to 100 guy, and he's sort of sitting in that range at the moment. Has Hawthorn. He's gotten through some tough rucks. I mean, Jared Witts was a tough ruck, but he just tackled him every time Jared Witts tried to take it out of the air. Has Hawthorn with Meek, which will be a tough ruck, I reckon, for the likes of Grundy. But I reckon the thing is, I could see him putting up a similar stat line, but I still think it'll be a tough ruck for him. But yeah, he's just going along well. Kicked a goal as well. First goal in the Swans colours. Almost kicked one in the first quarter as well. So shows that he's also hitting the scoreboard, which is nice after not really getting anything in the first couple of rounds. But yeah, I think this is almost a good couple rounds for you guys who still have him, as he's got the Hawks and now the Giants, and then you jump off potentially with the double ruck matchup in Freo, and then he's got the double ruck matchup here in against Carlton, and another double ruck in Western Bulldogs. So you could almost jump off with this three rounds here that I don't think he'll necessarily do the best, as him against a double ruck is when he's sort of played his worst. As you can see here, 2 games here for a 70 average. So yeah, I think those who stuck fat with him, well played. I didn't think it was probably the logically right decision, but it seems like maybe my logic is just wrong at this point. Yeah, I think there was probably other areas that we should have probably upgraded as and held Brody Grundy anyway. So maybe it probably was the right decision in the end. But I guess that's all part of the learning with these new buy system, and others probably just got it right more than me. And yeah, so Brody Grundy, one of the better picks of the year still, I would say. And he's only gonna probably go and make himself up to sort of 850k to sort of. I don't think he's gonna get to 900k, but he may well get to 900k if we look at the projections here. They have him getting up to sort of that 880k before he sort of slows down a little bit, and that's with 100 scores. So I could see him getting up to close to 900k. McInerney Heaney 113. He was great. He just decided to just slow down in the after quarter time, basically. especially in the last quarter when the game was done. He was just like, I can't be bothered. And yeah, 21 from him in the last to get him to a 113. Still a respectable score and still a 98 in Supercoach when he basically didn't use the ball efficiently at all. 53% disposal efficiency with 7 clangers doesn't help. But yeah, so he didn't use the ball efficiently, but still got the points on the board, which was good. Excuse me. McInerney 103. I think he's really stepped up a gear this year and really provided the run that we needed, especially because the other wing, he's almost been probably the best winger of the lot at the moment, even though we have Errol Goulden on the other wing. I don't know what's happened with Errol, and this was the weird thing. I was looking at the Brownlow tracker or predictor for this game, and they had Errol for 2 votes, and you'll see exactly why I'm kind of annoyed about that. And I don't think that's going to be true at all. So yeah, McInerney, a 35 in the last. So he did step it up in the last, but I thought he was really good. And he's now averaging like 80 on the year. And that's a plus like 6 or 7. It's really shown that he's gotten in around it, especially because he's had role changes throughout the year, and that's really, really been good. Someone that I thought was on the fringes when the squad initially started, and I think he might have been initially on the fringes, but he has taken the chance with Parker and Adams out and really taken it by the scruff of the neck and said, no, I am better than I am better for this team and more efficient in my role than the likes of James Jordan, as James Jordan really is starting to, I guess, struggle a little bit, and I wonder if his role's sort of been taken by a McInerney. Goulden 100, and you just see here, look at this second half when the game was, this third quarter, the game was still alive, so I understand them marking that. But then again, 42 in the last when the margin was always plus 40 in the last, it doesn't really have that much of a reflection on who was actually truly the better ones on the ground. And if you look at the stats, you'd probably say Sam Flanders deserves a vote. But then you look at the underlying stats and you'd say no, that doesn't. If we look at the stats by foot, Errol Goulden 63% by foot, 7 clangers. So you're probably looking at that and saying he doesn't really actually deserve it more than the likes of Heaney, who did his work when the work needed to be done. So yeah, I just don't know how Errol Goulden can be on track for 2 votes in this game. Brody Grundy getting the 3, rightfully so, when he basically did all his work in the last. Chad Warner, 91, I thought he was pretty decent. I don't think, the thing about Chad Warner is, and the good thing about, I think, what's happening at the moment is, yes, he's young, he's like 22 or whatever, 23, but he's in a side that doesn't need him to really perform every week at the moment because they've got Heaney. Goulden's not even performing that well, but he's doing his job. They have so many guys rolling through that midfield that they don't even need, and Brody Grundy's almost like a 4th midfielder at the way he played on the weekend, that they don't even need Chad Warner to provide this sort of spark at the moment as much, and he's just sort of doing it in spurts. And if he can provide, once he gets to the stage where he's sort of, and I don't know if he ever will, but I think he can be like a Jordan. He's going to go down the path of sort of a Jordan De Goey as well, of just providing that spark every 1 or 2 games, and it can almost win a game off his own boot, just because he's so game-breaking and this is, Chad Warner would be so good in the Adelaide midfield. I just saying that now because he just breaks lines so heavily, and so yeah, a 91 from him. He's not going to be fancy irrelevant, I don't think, ever. Just because he's not really a ball winner. He's more of a guy that breaks lines, and that's exactly what the Swans need. And yeah, he just fits in really well there, and 41 in the third was absolutely huge, including a goal. He's spending a little bit more time up forward, so I wonder what his splits are, but I don't think it's anything. I don't think he's anywhere near that sort of 35% split, but will be interesting to see what his splits actually are. Roberts 89, he's been absolutely huge. I got that call wrong at the start of the year. I didn't know that the conversion between I thought that Lloyd would get phased out slowly, and yeah, after about 2 games, I knew that call was wrong at the start of the year. Another bad call, but yeah. So I don't even think Lloyd might not even survive the selection at this point because his role is flicking up and around. So he might not even survive just because we have Roberts at the moment doing what Roberts is better by foot and better defensively. So he's almost a better all round package than Lloyd at the moment. And if you can, I know Lloyd most likely won't survive when Mills gets back, but he might not even survive when Parker and potentially Sheldrick get back this week, because Sheldrick had a good game in the 2s. Roy Bottom, 88. He was just pretty good all round. And yeah, huge first quarter, huge tackling effort, I'm pretty sure. What's that? Let's actually just check it this way. He had, in the end, only 8 tackles. Only 8. So, yeah, just the Swans in the tackling again. You see here, 11, 4, 5, 4. And then another 4, 8, 6. And then a 6 from Jordan. 4 from McLean as well. 4 from Fox. So, they ended up pretty good on the tackling front as well. So, just shows how much pressure they were providing. I mean, Matt Rowell with 12 as well. Huge. So, yeah, he was pretty good. James Rowbottom. Taylor Adams, 83, was huge in the first couple quarters, I believe, and then faded out very heavily. But then again, his role he did the role that he needed to do, really damaging sort of Flanders, as he had the direct matchup there, and he was running into the centre, whereas Flanders was hanging back. And yeah, he really almost damaged Flanders' confidence to the point that Flanders just started turning the ball over like there was no tomorrow, as you probably would have seen with my tweets. Moving down here, Florent Blakey was really good, Supercoach-wise, not so much showing up on the fantasy scoreboard. James Jordan provided a goal late and got some points late to really score well, but I don't think he's really that relevant to the Swan side, to be honest, at the moment, which sucks because he's a really good player. Just they've got so many stacked in that wing and mid forward role that he's not really there at the moment. McLean, Cunningham, Papley, Fox, Lloyd, Amadi, Melican, Wicks, Haywood, McDonald, McCartan, and Campbell. Then we go over to Gold Coast and you see Sammy Flanders 126 and you think, oh yeah, what a game by him, what a game. 7 clangers, 6 goals conceded off those 7 clangers. And if you look at the scoreboard, 53 points, 6 goals they could have mitigated from not having Flanders off half-back, as well as probably the extra goal or 2 they scored from, the Swans scored from having Taylor Adams in the midfield and against as that 4th midfielder. Really, Sam Flanders was almost the difference in this game. He was almost, and I think Riley Macker as well, I was on his live stream at the time, I'm pretty sure he almost said it as well, that Sam Flanders was almost best on ground for the Swans, just with how poor he was. His role is absolutely piss poor down there. Great for fantasy, and I'm not denying that, and pretty good for Supercoach just because he racks up enough that it doesn't really matter about his disposal efficiency. I mean, his disposal efficiency, 76%, but he had 29 kicks for 487 metres gained. Isaac Heaney had 10 less kicks for 5 more metres gained. Errol Gordon had 8 less kicks for another 15 metres gained. So just showing, even looking at Nick Blakey, half the amount of kicks for 130 more metres gained. Ollie Florent, another 70 metres gained on half of the amount of kicks. That just shows you, I think, that Sam Flanders, aside from basically taking most of the kick-outs and kicking it long, he does not kick it long off an actual in dispute disposal, and he just kicks it sideways or handballs it backwards. And when he kicks it forward, when he kicks it forward, it's basically going to be a turnover more times than not. And yeah, 7 clangers, and they just got punished, including a 50 against meter penalty from a swipe down that was just dumb defending. It was almost like he was rattled. So yeah, Sam Flanders, need to get him off the half-back line and onto the wing, as he is really almost a detriment to the Gold Coast Suns at the moment. But really good fantasy role, so he's scoring well. Witts 114, Fiorini 103, Miller 100 as well, so he did all right. I just don't think with, if it will show Miller here, you can see last quarter he went on a blitz. I just don't think Miller is going to be, his role is going to be sort of tagger / moving around a little bit, so I don't think you can really go there this year. It really sucks because he has the body and the tank to be able to go sort of a 110, 115, but they're sort of allowing a mixture of players to do it. Barry Lukosius seems like a sort of Harry Himmelberg down back of an 80 or so, just because they've got the Sam Flanders / Whitfield role there in place, and that sort of, you see, sort of has the same trajectory, so I'm not jumping on Lukosius. Andrew McAndrew, close seat 73, really happy about this. He's going to make a bunch of cash in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, he's going to be probably, him and Will Graham eventually will combine to get a premium, as those two are just making cash quickly. Anderson, 69. Powell, 63. Walter, 51. Ballard, 51. Graham, a 50. I would like to see him get a little bit more midfield time and get involved with it. I don't know what the midfield splits exactly were, but yeah, he had a good start, and yeah, just got to hope that he can get another sort of 70, 75, as he is on on field for me at the moment, because my field is I'm so struggling, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yeah, he is on field for me at the moment, which sort of sucks. So yeah, he will hopefully score well, because I kind of need it for the next sort of foreseeable future, as he's on field, and sort of got stuck with him just because I stuffed up all my trades. I stuffed up so badly. Luckily in Supercoach he's not on my field and is on my bench. Collins, Ainsworth, King, Humphrey, Holman, Rogers, Reed, Ewland and Swallow, and that pretty much is the video there. I know it was a slightly longer video going through the sort of Swans side. I went through in like 10 minutes. But yeah, just a dominant win from the Sydney Swans, and they march on to 5-1. And there are still, I would say, some doubts on the Sydney Swans, but not as many doubts as we did have pre-bye or into the bye week, as they had lunged over the line against West Coast, which actually, now looking at it, doesn't look as bad of a win as a win. And they had lost to Richmond, which probably almost is a worse of a loss now, but it was only one kick. So, yeah, in the end of the day, Swans are going well. Pretty happy. Supercoach team going well, but Fantasy team is in the dumps at the moment. So, anyway, I will see you guys in the next recap, which is the last one of the round of the wooden spoon race, I guess, between Hawthorn and North Melbourne. So, I'll see you guys in that one. Bye, guys.